Which is better, out or in? Huh? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's April 1, 2020. It's a Wednesday, and we continue to operate remotely from our respective residences or offices. And today we have a lot of news, and just for all of those people who have no access to newspapers, now we'll give you a quick review of some of the headlines. Secretary Eduardo Año, former Senator Bongbong Marcos, and former Finance Secretary Virata all tested positive for COVID-19. Secretary Año has indicated that he is not feeling any symptoms at the moment. He's feeling well. Former Senator Bongbong Marcos, through his spokesperson, reports that he is recovering, and former Secretary of Finance Cesar Virata remains in the intensive care unit of the St. Luke's Hospital. And we enjoin all our viewers to please pray for all our national officials, past and present, including Senator Gerson Alvarez and his wife Cecile Guidote, who are both in the intensive care unit of a Manila hospital. And we will keep everyone posted on their current situations. Now, second, bad news for the morning: Rizal Mayor, Vice Mayor of Rizal has passed due to COVID-19. The Vice Mayor's League of the Philippines, Rizal Provincial Chapter, confirmed that Vice Mayor Jose de los Santos died at 5 p.m., quoting his assistant. The Municipal Health Office said Vice Mayor was confined at the Clinica Antipolo on March 16. In an earlier interview, De Los Santos said he tested positive for COVID-19 on March 26. We reach out to the family of the Vice Mayor, and please accept our sincere condolences, and we hope that somehow you will find comfort in these dark times through your friends. Then the third headline for the day: there is a report that the government will now initiate Contain, Isolate, Eliminate, a program that will be put in place if the numbers of COVID positive cases escalate, if PUIs and PUM numbers escalate. We have a report from Secretary Carlito Galvez, who's basically in charge of this entire operation, and says that they will now identify or determine the use of major facilities such as the PICC, sports complexes, hotels, etc., to quarantine PUIs and PUMs. The idea is to stop people from moving around, because if the numbers escalate, the only way to contain the spread of COVID-19 after the community quarantine, the next step will have to be to contain those who are tested positive or those who are suspected of PUI or PUM. Then we have a good news for today. The good news is that the DOH has received 20,000 personal protection equipment, 20,000 units of PPEs, and it has been the shipment has been sent directly to the Office of the Civil Defense. Headline 4: Online physicians offer free services. Groups are offering services. COVID Ask Force, launched by the Lung Center of the Philippines on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/COVID Ask Force. Manila Doctors Hospital Pulmonary Postgraduate Course. Doctors Online, MD Link Healthcare, Association of Medical Doctors in Asia, Taguig City's telemedicine, and I'm sure there will be more. That's our initial rundown of the news. I think it's important to reiterate what President Rodrigo Duterte has said earlier, he will not hesitate to send abusive local government officials to jail, to suspend them and place them under detention if they are charged with corruption, uh, misuse of the public funds for COVID-19. In any case, we will keep you updated with the news, and we are live on Facebook. So let's get on with the program. We will now be going to General Guillermo Eleazar. Let's see if we can connect with General Guillermo Eleazar. Sir, good morning, sir. Are you there already? General Eleazar, good morning. We can't seem to get an audio on General Eleazar. We'll have to fix that. But for the meantime, we'll follow up. Well, okay, let me just check on that with my team. For the meantime, I'll give you a rundown of today's guests. We have, of course, as I mentioned, General Guillermo Eleazar. We will be talking to him about the checkpoints, this problem about workers walking from Metro Manila all the way to San Pablo City, trying to cross to Quezon Province. This problem about all this this problem concerning motorcycle cops escorting pogo players, etc., or pogo workers. In any case, let's first go to Secretary Mon Lopez. I believe he's on board. Secretary Mon Lopez, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sito. Good morning, everyone.
Well, I have to be honest, Secretary Mon, you gave me a good scare. I was really worrying about you because we had been trying to reach out and you went silent. Are you on quarantine? Are you okay?
I am on quarantine, but I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Since last Friday, because we got exposed to someone positive due to our interagency task force meetings, when the AFP chief announced that he is tested positive. So we all went on quarantine last Friday, yung members ng task force. And since then, we've been holding meetings, online meetings.
Okay. How long do you think this system will go? Because a lot of people have noticed na marami sa tinatamaan ngayon mga government officials. Parang nasa frontline din kayo. Nobody really thinks about that you are also frontliners. And, everyone's talking about doctors getting sick, frontliners getting sick. But it's only now we're noticing pati mga cabinet members napipilitan ng mag-self-quarantine.
Kasi we've been going out meeting, syempre going to, like in our case last Thursday, the day before we went on quarantine, kami ni Secretary Dar, we went to the trade, to the public market, the supermarket. So we get some exposure then as we do our respective jobs. So I guess that's part of the job, no? So okay lang, pero we practice social distancing, we wear masks pag nasa labas. So yun lang, we just take all these precautionary measures. So, and even then, even ito nga, nalaman natin si Sec Anyo, tested positive. So the more we have to be very careful.
Okay, speaking of work, a lot of senior citizens have asked me to extend their thanks and gratitude to you, to Senator Bongo, and to Secretary Martin Andanar for facilitating itong pagpapahalaga sa senior citizens. Because apparently you rolled out a memorandum to correct the process whereby senior citizens, that allows senior citizens to actually go out and shop, go buy supplies for themselves. Can you give us details on the memorandum?
Well, first, it is premised on of course, the policy that we discourage senior citizens to go out because they are at the vulnerable age, vulnerable to COVID, catching for COVID-19. So that's the premise. But however, we realize that there are still a lot of senior citizens who are living by themselves or a couple sila na parehong senior citizen. At so wala nang ibang bibili or will do the errands. And when they are out, in the supermarkets already, some groceries or supermarkets are not allowing them inside, which is PT because they're already there, no? Tapos so may confusion dun sa policy na yon na akala ng ibang supermarket bawal sila. Actually, they are just discouraged kasi vulnerable. So ngayon, we really have to come up with this para malinaw na they are allowed. And in fact, if they're already in the grocery and supermarkets, part of the memorandum circular is that they should even be given preference in terms of letting them in first. Wala nang pila, hindi na sila pipila sa labas because as you notice ngayon, may mga pila na rin sa labas to preserve social distancing inside, preserve the number of people inside. So, pag senior citizen, we are saying allow them inside already and ganun, provide some express lanes for them. Express lane whether they are buying, a grocery cart full or a basket full. Pagka yung express lane. Yung mga ganun, simpleng lang naman to, tulong, assistance to the senior citizen. But we're happy that marami nagpadala rin sa amin ng appreciation. We didn't realize na madami talagang may ganong na-encounter na problema. So I think that was a good issuance.
And I think also it reflects that we have a responsive government who's handling the situation. Now, my next question, Secretary, is about the supply chain. May mga nagtatanong sa akin, papaniwalaan ba nila itong mga I call them spokespersons. Spook as in mga nakakanervyos kasi may mga tao na representing associations, representing mga chambers, na sinasabi magkakaroon ng shortage, magkakaroon ng kapos. Pati ako, nabiktima ako kasi nagpanic buying ako ng pagkain sa baboy at manok ko dahil akala ko baka maubusan eh. Sabi ng mga tiga-Bimeg, nananaginip ka, we have 6 months supply. What is our supply chain situation, Mr. Secretary?
The supply chain situation, it's not 100% definitely, but because right at the start of the quarantine period, we suggested some kind of a skeletal force that's ranging about 25% to 50% of yung regular workforce so that we can instill the social distancing requirement. But because of that, and that was a sort of the first move when we went into the first 2 weeks. But in our last meeting, the Interagency Task Force last Friday, was it just Monday? We said that we can allow already more than 50%, especially for critical products. For example, the likes of instant noodles, canned meat, yung mga regular staple food ng ating mga kababayan, to allow even higher than 50%. Because they're saying if we continue at 50%, hindi naman mag-shortage but the inventories are getting thinner. Ibig sabihin, konti na lang yung inventaryo. Right now, they're still doing 15 to 30% range. 15 to 30 days inventory ang mga pagkain. So marami tayong pagkain. And of course, yung hindi pa napaprocess, marami pa in terms of the agriculture supply, even the rice supply I last heard 75-day inventory. May mga parating pa tayong importation. So, marami naman of processing of this for the processed food manufacturing. The other challenge is itong workers not being allowed to cross borders sa checkpoint. So, yung iba, they're not hitting even 50% capacity because yung workers nila from another town hindi pinapalagpas sa checkpoint, in which case sila Secretary Anyo naman and the PNP, they've been helping us really smoothen that flow. Malinaw na up to the PNP hierarchy down to the checkpoints na hindi nila pipigilan. Hindi nila pipigilan itong mga workers, pati yung cargos. Unfortunately, in some barangays, not the PNP, yung mga barangay tanod, sila pa yung mas mahigpit. And ang problema sa ganyan, aside from yung worker not able to work, get to work, yung supply din ng pagkain sa kanila, baka sila ang ma-shortage dahil sa unnecessary strictness ng mga barangay tanod. No? So, dapat talaga unimpeded, unhampered flow of cargo, and the workers who are showing their IDs that they're part of the food supply chain. Either manufacturer, part sila sa manufacturing ng mga inputs that goes into the food manufacturing, or sa distribution, yung cargo, trucking, warehousing. Mga empleyado dyan, they are supposed to be allowed to work.
Okay, we are talking about the next 2 weeks in terms of points of reference, but many countries are already thinking in terms of the next 6 months, the new normal. Sa mga production plants natin, etc., there are suggestions na baka pwede, can we just screen workers for whether they're positive, negative, or asymptomatic, etc., and then require companies to put up. Kasi nagagawa naman natin ngayon na marami yung mga health workers na ilalagay sa mga hotels, motels, and mga dormitory. Kasi sa'yo rin ang galing yun. You came up with that suggestion that companies should put up boarding facilities for workers. What's your direction on those two fronts regarding screening and for dorms?
Yeah, you're right, Sito, Bali. This really will create a new norm, or is creating already a new norm. I think even if once we lift the quarantine, the new norm is such that all employees will continuously be screened, if not tested. Social distancing will always be practiced, even inside the plant, inside the offices, inside the trade, sa mga grocery supermarkets, you can already see people lining up about 1 meter apart. So parang nagiging new norm ng behavior. New norm also in terms of the culture of, similar to what we read yun sa Japanese culture na just being pag nagkikita kayo or wearing mask as a, as part of your accessory, those might be the new norm. But definitely
Actually, hindi ba si President Duterte does that already? When he goes on public speeches, he begins with a bow to the audience.
Correct. So he set the example before pa, no? So essentially ganun na yung magiging norm natin. But definitely we will have to, right after the quarantine, once all the health indicators would show na we can slowly go back to normal, open up offices, businesses. At first, we may have to be selective which establishments can be opened right after itong current status na only food and essential product and supply chain and their supply chain establishments are now allowed. Eventually, of course, we will have to open up the others. So gradually, ang palagay kong mahuhuli dito would be those establishments na may mga that would have mass gathering, essentially like theaters, entertainment, concerts, mga, I guess for some more months hindi pa i-allow yan, no? Just to be on the safe side. But as far as the general course of business, we will get back to that, of course. Kasi itong crucial itong 30-day quarantine natin, hopefully we are able to assess already who has the virus, na-separate na sila, and we focus the efforts on those really hit by the COVID-19, especially the serious ones. So, yan ang magiging nakikita nating face-by-face lifting of the quarantine moving forward.
I know you are under extreme pressure, or there is extreme expectation from businesses, industries to, on April 15, balik na sa dati, operate again. And as you mentioned, that's not going to happen. Apparently, it's going to be a staggered process,
Mm.
phase by phase.
Mhm.
And are you in meetings now? Well, of course not now because you're under quarantine. But are you in consultation with the different chambers and ano na bang
Mhm.
napapag-usapan nyo? Kasi I think we have to be psychologically prepared for that. We have to manage people's expectations that we're not going to go back doing it the same way. That people will,
Yeah.
companies, offices cannot all go back to the same system.
Oo, correct. Yes, I am in touch through a Viber group, and also right now occasional Zoom meetings. Para we can already get their inputs, and so far this is also the thinking. Many of them actually are saying that to be on the safe side, they don't want to have a relapse or a second wave of
Yeah.
infections. Yeah, careful din sila. They are really for a phased lifting of the quarantine, and definitely yung mga safe naman on mga ibang business industries, of course, can get back to work, and just simply apply all those disciplines that we just talked about.
Okay, well, I won't take any more of your time, Secretary Mon Lopez. We are praying for you every night. We are,
Salamat.
and we hope you will stay strong, stay positive, and stay healthy.
Salamat po. Kayo rin, Sito and your family, and sa lahat po ng ating kababayan. Ingat po tayo lahat. Stay home.
Okay, and that is Secretary Ramon Lopez of the Department of Trade and Industry. Let's now go over to Secretary Joey Concepcion, the Presidential Assistant on hindi ko na alam, ang dami ng mga title nitong maman to. Anyway, Joey Con, good morning, Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship. Good morning to you, sir.
Tito, good morning. Don't call me a secretary. I'm not a secretary. I'm just an advisor.
Oh, okay. My mistake, but you have that stature already, whether you realize it or not. In any case, Mr. Joey Con, what's your reading? I don't know if you heard my interview with Secretary Mon Lopez. There is now this thought that we're not going back to the same old, same old. There's going to be a new normal, but there is a lot of pressure from business to get the engines of industries running as soon as possible.
Tito, yes, that's correct. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been hooked up. Mon is part of the same Viber group. About a couple of days ago, we had a meeting with some of the cabinet secretaries on basically a brainstorming and sharing of ideas on current issues. We did it basically to Zoom, and it was an exchange, a very good exchange of how the business people feel today. So, part of that meeting were the business conglomerates, the business organizations, about 25 of them, and a couple of secretaries. And right now, we've been forming a proposal now to the ATF on what we think should be the transition, no? Moving towards the new normal. We have seen what has happened in the rest of the world, no? And a lot of changes are going to happen. Uh, we really have to manage basically our the war against the virus, and provided the most important is lives of Filipino people, no? But we have to also
Okay.
realize that the economy has to run. So our view in the private sector, basically, we proposed, and well, we plan to propose to the president and the IATF that I think we should move more towards a barangay-based focus, no? Rather than a lockdown or a quarantine on the entire Luzon. Maybe in the transition phase, we should really focus on the barangays. And why is
Can
that so?
you explain? Can you explain that concept, barangay-based focus?
I think the president, in his first talk to the nation, mentioned the role of the barangay captains. Right now, what we see here is you've got quarantine in the entire Luzon, and then you have got some LGUs who are locking down certain provinces, and of course the barangays already are locking down respective barangays when they reach a certain level of infection. So
Yes.
I think there has to be a clear focus. What do you really want to do? I think we have to focus on the micro center of our Philippine society, which is the barangay. And I think the role there of the barangay captain and the mayor is very crucial. If the IATF can come up with clear guidelines on when can a barangay be locked down, I think we will be able to now manage it better. And I think our secretaries of uh, Anyo, Galvez, and Lorenzana really know how to do warfare. And I think the approach on a barangay might be more practical. You can now remove all the checkpoints that prohibit free flowing of goods, because then you would now secure the barangays. So that is one suggestion that we are going to put forward. We also want to see that manufacturing and construction go back to normal. Uh, we in the private sector, in the end, will have to house our own employees very close to the plant or sometimes inside the plant. The challenge really now is, aside from trying to bring in workers to the plant because of the different lockdowns in the provinces, you have workers who just don't want to work because of their safety. And that's a big issue. In fact, right now, our own operations that produce milk, pasta, flour milling, flour, and all of that, we are challenged with continuous work. We are able to sometimes do a 24-hour work, and sometimes we can't, just because these workers are hesitant. We've already given a lot of incentives. We're providing them with meals for their families as well. And even our contractors are having a hard time in bringing laborers to come and work. No? But I think that's all because of the fear that's going around. No? Everybody is tuned to all these TV stations talking about the virus. So that is what we're proposing, that let's allow manufacturing, all manufacturing, because right now, the way I see it, you can see it. Power consumption is down by 40%. If you look at the port of Ricky Razon, it's full of containers. Nobody wants to pull it out. That's going to be a problem. Why is it full? Because business is very slow. Exporters are feeling it. I've talked to Dan Lachico on the semiconductor. Nobody is spared of this. So I think what we should try to do is, wherever there is employment, let's employ them and allow all manufacturing, allow construction, especially to start, because that is where a lot of employees, and there's a relatively good amount of social distancing there because you're in the open air. No, so that is what we're going to suggest as well, and that has been suggested quite a lot of times now. So cargos, if you don't anymore have provincial and Luzon lockdowns, then it's just focus on the barangays. Then the roads should be free, and the focus of the security will be towards the barangays. Now, on the public transportation, we are mixed there. Some of the business organizations are for uh, allowing the public transportation to start, and some are very strong that we should not start and allow public transportation to start because we have to manage during this transition. So there is a split consensus there whether we allow public transportation or not. My own
But
personal thing is,
let me cut in on that point. There have been I picked up a few things on the internet and in a newscast. You know how bicycles and motorcycles are evolving as the probably acceptable mode of transportation when you think of social distancing. Some people are suggesting that people just ride bikes and motorcycles and do away with all of these cars and buses, etc. What's your thought on that?
actually, at this point, we have already bought about close to 500 bicycles for our merchandises because it's very hard for them to get to the supermarkets. So many are doing that right now. On motorcycles, the only issue there is that normally you have, that's why Angkas cannot ride, because there's no social distancing in a motorcycle unless you drive yourself. No? But we
Yes.
find bicycles to be more practical and cheaper. So that's what we're providing our merchandisers. So that's where we are right now. I think in the transition phase, if we are to lift the ECQ this coming April 14. I think it's more prudent to hold it for at least 2 weeks. Another thing that we have consensus, considering that many of the people who own shopping centers, many feel that the shopping centers, the malls, should still be closed. Whatever is being implemented on areas of gatherings, malls, bars, restaurants that are, unless the restaurants are able to practice social distancing and all of that, then they should be closed. So right now, in this transition phase, even the mall owners feel that we should not open. And even if they open, Sito,
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
is going to go to the mall. I mean, my kids don't even want to leave this house. I don't even need. In fact, the lockdown is not necessary because, in a sense, if you look at it, there's just extreme fear out there right now. My wife doesn't even want to go and see her friends during the. I mean, definitely everybody's moving online, doing all of this house party, and we're now here on. So that we are now being trained. In fact, we're not going to rush to bring our employees to work after this whole thing. We want to see what is going to happen. And they're already used to using Zoom and different formats for meetings. So in a way, there's a good thing that we're learning out of this. We're learning how to work online. No? So in so far, the private sector is aligned in how the transition should be. Another input there is that with the approval of the rapid test kits, and this to me is going. It is rapid test kits are not the gold standard, but what is it going to be? If we move towards a barangay-based focus on quarantine, the private sector, who is surrounded by the barangays, must work with the barangay captain and the mayor to provide testing, pre-screening. What I call rapid test will provide what we call pre-screening. Maybe we can even hire a research company to give us an idea on, okay, in this barangay, beside this factory, what is the adequate sampling size that will give us a good indicator as how many people or the level of degree of risk in that barangay. So the rapid test kits will, which now has been approved, and more manufacturers are being approved as well, and distributors. So now private sector will use this as a tool as we bring in workers to work in our respective plants. Of course, we want to test them regularly to be sure that they don't infect, because once you house them in a plant and they're all there and you have a breakout, your plant will be locked down. So we have to secure that plant, because the more practical thing to me right now is to really house them in our plant, and we're doing that right now. But the security, the safety has to be ensured, and with the rapid test kits and using the nurse that we have or the doctors that we have already based in our operation, we will be able to develop a protocol there. And maybe down the road we can also develop a protocol and work with the barangay captains to also help the barangays, because the source of employment really are the barangay residents that are close to the plants. And if we do this nationwide, then you have a real support of the private sector, not only watching for their people, but watching for the people that surround their operations.
Which is quite common in the barangay. Everything that happens in the barangay, everybody in the barangay knows. And I think that's a good suggestion from you, Joey. And I'll have to close it at that. But thank you for all those inputs. And we hope you will continue to communicate with us, because your inputs are much appreciated.
Thank you, Sito.
Okay, that's Joey Concepcion, Presidential Advisor on Entrepreneurship. And next we go to General Guillermo Eleazar, who's the Task Force Commander. General Eleazar, magandang umaga po sa inyo.
Yes, magandang umaga, Sito. Ganon din po sa lahat na nakikinig at nanonood sa ating programa.
Kamusta naman po kayo personally, and kamusta naman po ang inyong mga tauhan, mga kabaro natin?
Ayos naman po. Ang ating pong mga pulisan ngayon ay lagi pong tinitingnan ng ating kapakanan. No less than our Chief PNP, Police General Archie Gamboa, has given instruction na lahat po ng ating mga pulisan should be on our healthy condition. And we are really looking after the welfare of the police while we are busy conducting our operations on this quarantine control points, but just the same, lahat po ng pangailangan to sustain our operations are being taken care of by our organization.
General Eleazar, sa mga tauhan po ninyo, mga kapulisan natin, how many have come down with COVID-19 and were these infections in the line of duty?
So far, based on the information, around 7. Pero
Okay.
patuloy pa po monitor natin to Sito, and we have prepared facilities here inside Camp Crame for those personnel na pwede po ma-infect. But just the same, all the camps nationwide ay meron na rin paghahanda para po doon sa ating mga kasamahan na pwede magkaroon ng infection. So, ang instruction nga sa lahat ay dapat po ay laging safe tayo dahil napakahirap that our police force will be infected and it will paralyze our operation.
Okay, napansin ko lang po doon sa mga checkpoints natin, ang mga kinukunan natin ng temperatura or those that who check on temperatures, the police are, assisting the local government, but meron bang mga nag-aasikaso naman sa mga police? May mga nurse ba doon o mga medics na binabantayan rin yung kapulisan? Because we are in the summer season, and every time I pass a checkpoint, my biggest worry for your men is, heat stroke. And they're all standing in the sun.
Yes. The different commanders in the ground, Sito, should see to it na only those in the right physical condition or healthy will be deployed in the field. At bago po ma-deploy yan, meron tayo mga protocols na ginagawa. So, at least the minimum protective equipment din ay kailangan meron sila. So ito po ay ating tinitingnan para masiguro na ligtas ang ating mga kapulisan.
Okay, maiba naman po ako ng usapan. I understand that General Chief PNP Archie Gamboa has already given instructions to hunt down yung mga walangyang ng saboy ng gamot sa health workers natin, isa sa Cebu yata at isa naman sa Camindanaoan. What is the status of that? Because there are a lot of people who are angry about the maltreatment of our health workers.
Tama yun. Kasalukuyan, nag-iimbestiga ang ating mga concerned unit commanders in the ground. But meron kasi tayong isang anggulong tinitingnan na possibly fake news din. Okay. Sa ating pagkakataon po ngayon, napakarami na ating mga kasamahan or ating mga kababayan na mga unconfirmed reports ay pinapasa nila, and then eventually we have found out na ito naman po ay hindi accurate. So just the same, ay tayo po nananawagan sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan na hindi po dapat tayo ma-involve sa ganitong mga illegal activities, and that our police force will be conducting investigation as well as those who are involved in spreading fake news. Nag-create po tayo ng task force COVID kontrapeke kung saan ang ating pong anti-cybercrime group and CIDG is coordinating with the ICT so that we can run after these irresponsible individuals na gumagawa nito mga ito.
Okay, yung pong sa mga checkpoints natin, General, may mga lumabas pong report na may 300, there's about 300 workers who walked from Metro Manila heading to Quezon and Bicol, and hindi maisip ng mga kababayan natin paano nangyari yun. How can 300 people walk on the national highway pagkatas umabot hanggang San Pablo? Parang binababanatan na naman tayo tungkol dyan. Saan ba nagdaanan yung mga yan?
Sito, 15 days na tayo at simula nga nung lockdown, after that, marami nagpapalusot natin mga kababayan. In fact, kaya nga chinecheck natin itong mga cargo, lalo yung walang laman. Kasi nag-accommodate or naawa sila sa mga naglalakad, kaya sinasama nila doon. Yung iba naman nagpapanggap na pahinante. Or marami, pwede silang kung meron checkpoint, pwede silang lumabas o lumakad away from the checkpoint. So, hindi po ito isang araw na nagmarcha na 300. Pero ito yung mga nagpapalusot. Alam mo, problema talaga yan. Actually, para sa inyong kalaman, ang kapatid ko po ay mayor ng Tagkawayan, Quezon, si Mayor Carlo Eleazar. na yun po yung border natin doon. Kaya araw-araw kami nag-uusap dahil doon natatrap. Initially, nagkaroon ng coordination with the guidance and clearance from DILG na sinusundo po sila sa border nitong mga LGUs natin in other places here in Bicol region. Pero nagbigay ng instruction ng ating Chief PNP na through the guidance of our SLG na tigil na po yun. Hindi na. And we have given instruction to our police force here in Metro Manila as well as in Calabarzon na hindi dapat pinalalampasan yan. Kaya nga napapansin nyo, talagang chinecheck natin na only those authorized person outside residence ang pwedeng makalabas. Pero kung gagawin ng paraan talaga po, pwedeng makalusot pwedeng maglakad yung mga yan. Kaya tayo nananawagan sa ating mga kabayan, hindi po kayo pwede na pumunta dyan dahil mahihirapan lang kayo just like dun sa iba na natitira pa rin. Right now, kukunti na po yan, kaya lang may mga tumatakas. So, while we are giving direction sa ating mga pulis na yan naman po ay sa tao din lamang na pwedeng malusutan kung talagang magtatago, pati nga sumasampa sila sa mga cargo truck, nagtatago sa loob, kaya chinecheck natin. We are appealing to the public, magkakaproblema po kayo, makipagtulungan po kayo. You are walking by rules. Kaya nga po, we are trying to restrict or prevent the movement of people dahil ayaw natin na magkahawa-hawa yan. So hiningi po natin ang kooperasyon ng bawat isa, not just the public, but pati rin po yung LGUs and to the police force na binibigyan natin ng direction.
Okay, mabuti po na paglinawan natin yan kasi medyo nababanatan din yung tiga Quezon, sinasabi na wala silang puso. In fact, they're actually implementing the lockdown and the blockade. Now, kamusta naman po yung dito sa Metro Manila? Kasi nakapanayam ko na rin si Mayor Toby Tiangco at sinabi niya, wala nang compassion, kulungan na mangyayari sa amin. Are we implementing that, General Eleazar, yung wala nang ticket, wala nang multa, kulong na?
Sito, we should always remember na itong sanction ng ating mga curfew na mga ordinansa na pinasa ng iba't ibang locality. Pati na rin po yung coverage sa kanilang curfew. It could be 10 hours, it could be 24 hours. Pero una, gusto natin sabihin sa ating mga kabayan, may curfew o wala, hindi po kayo pwedeng lumabas ng bahay unless you are exempted. So, klaro po yun. Ano ang pagkakaiba na may curfew at wala? Kung wala pong curfew, paglabas nyo at unauthorized persons kayo, you can be cautioned, you can be denied entry or pass points. Pag pumalag kayo, huli kayo for disobedience and resistance. Pero kung merong curfew, just your presence outside your residence is already an offense based on the provision of the ordinance. So kung kulong kaagad po yun, kulong. Yung iba naman mayroong fine. But just the same, nag-request po initially kasi ang ating DOJ, nag-suggest sila na baka pwedeng dahil may skeletal force lang sila, is pwedeng direct filing na lang. Initially, we have considered that. But because of the appeal of the local chief executive, binalik na po natin na ito hulihan na lahat. Anyway, the DOJ has come up with the guidelines of online inquest at pati na rin po yung skeletal force ng korte, tatanggap na rin sila ng kaso. So ngayon po, lahat ng lumalabas, accosted, dadali sa police station, ibablatter, at with corresponding provisions of the ordinance in coordination with the local chief executive. Dahil kailangan mag-provide tayo ng kulungan na ito, observing physical distancing, isusundin pa rin natin yun. Ngayon, kung makapasok sila sa e-inquest, kulong sila. Wala naman tayong online detention. So maghintay tayo ngayon na makapagpiyansa sila bago makalabas. And for those who will not be accommodated, these curfew violators can be detained for at least 12 hours. Mapigyan sila ng programa doon so that it will deter them from repeating the same offense. Pero ang warning po natin sa ating mga kababayan, tumulong po kayo. Hindi ito para hulihin kayo. Kung hindi, we should be part of this, not to defeat the purpose of this quarantine.
Okay, well, maraming salamat po. And I realize now, General Eleazar, why you were chosen for this important and immense responsibility kasi kayo po ay no questions asked, action agad. Maraming salamat. Please stay healthy, stay strong, and stay safe. And we salute you and all your men. Maraming salamat po.
Yes, maraming salamat Sito. Ang gusto lang kong manawagan sa ating mga kabayan while we are saluting those who are our frontliners and you will go down in history as the heroes who have saved our country. Pero ang panawagan ko naman sa ating mga kabayan, manatili sa bahay para mapigil ang paglaganap ng virus at ang maraming buhay. Stay, stop, save. Stay home, stop the spread, save lives. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang mabagong bayani. Kayo pong nasa inyong mga bahay.
Maraming salamat po, General Guillermo Eleazar. He is the task force commander. And before we go for a break, yung pong sinabi ni General Eleazar, stay, stop, and save. If you don't stay, stop, and save, retired General Lito Galvez, who is now Secretary, has a counterpoint: contain, isolate, and eliminate. Yung pong virus, hindi po kayo. We'll go for a break, and when we come back, more interviews, more news here on Agenda. We are One News. Okay, I believe we are back on air. Sorry for that momentary gap. We have for our next interview the first Filipino who recovered from COVID-19. Before we bring him in, I just want to point out that it's not all bad news. In fact, I picked up in the news today that there is an 82 or 84-year-old woman who recently was cured of the COVID-19 illness or infection. And that tells us na meron naman pong nagagawa. There is no known cure, but there is a remedy, if you want to call it. There is a protocol of handling the patients so that they can get their strength back and that they can weather the infection. We are now going to go interview the first Filipino who recovered from COVID-19. He's a lawyer, Attorney Carlo Navarro. Carlo, good morning. I don't know if we have audio on Carlo. Hello, Carlo. Can we try that again? Maybe you should check your microphone, Carlo. Pareho-pareho tayong naninibago sa technology na ito. Baka naka-mute yung microphone mo. Try now. We still don't have the audio. Can I just ask the technical team to look into that? This is quite interesting because we are now in a day and age where we are forced to learn so much, forced to adapt to other ways of communicating, other ways of working. This is only my third day doing this, doing a program through internet, and I'm not really familiar with the system. If there's a joke right now going around among talk show hosts and media personalities or reporters, take a photo of the host on air and take a photo of the host away from the camera, and you will find out that most of the hosts are probably wearing shorts, wearing slippers, etc. And my wife is doing that right now. This work at home situation has its benefits. As Secretary Carlo Nograles pointed out, his executive assistant is no longer his staff, but his wife, and the people who are running the printing for him are his kids. So same here. And now let's go back to our guest, Carlo Navarro. Carlo, are you back there? Let's try it again, Carlo. Okay, I'm still not picking up on the audio. Let's find out from the team. Unfortunately, we can't seem to get that figured out, but we will check it out. In any case, I'm gonna have to do some stuff here while we fix that. And just for all of you who can't buy the newspaper or can't get the newspaper delivered, here's the headline for today. President Rodi Duterte vows to lock up abusive local executives, and Tycoon proposed modified quarantine. We already talked about that. PGH surgeon, physician couple die from virus. Online physicians offer help, and then you have a rundown of everything that's been happening, etc. I'm just doing that. Yes, I'm trying to cover for what's happening, but at the same time, it just occurred to me because I was based in Palawan for like 7 years on and off, building resorts. And that's where I learned that newspapers don't reach many provinces. Newspapers don't get distributed as well. Although now we have online, but still people stick to media for their news source, and this is a way of us sharing the news with you. And let's try again, Alex. Okay, we have a different set of guests. We'll try to go now to Siargao. We have two persons there. We have Alex and Drew, I think. Let's bring them in. Business people and community leaders in Siargao. Alexa and Dan, good morning to you guys.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, Alexa and Dan. Alexa first. I heard 2 hours before your wedding with Drew, you were cooking for 200 people along with other volunteers, Dan and Maureen, who happen to be with you. What is your goal with the Siargao Community Kitchen?
Yeah, well, with the closure of the island, I noticed that there are a lot of people who live hand to mouth here, so their income was affected by the closure. I worried about them, and I thought that maybe if I wrangled enough people to come help, we could feed 100 people. But we got so much help that we were able to double our goal amount.
Okay, Dan. I presume from your name, Dan Bradbury, that you are an American or an Englishman. What is the situation?
I'm half English, half Filipino.
Okay, half English, half Filipino. Is this something new for you? Did you ever imagine yourself being stuck in an island on an island and just having nothing to rely on because everyone's been cut off?
Well, actually, my family's from Siargao, and my mother is currently here, and some of my cousins. So, actually, for me, being stuck on Siargao is the best place to be.
Okay, and yeah, if you're a surfer, it's great. If you're a beach guy, it's great. But in the face of COVID-19, how has it impacted life in Siargao? Because I know many of our viewers also have been to Siargao or love Siargao. How has it changed the situation out there?
Well, surfing's been banned. All the establishments have been banned. Island hopping has been banned, which is fair enough to do with the social distancing. So Siargao has become a lot more quiet. A lot more people are staying in, which is good. So, and it will affect a lot of the establishments, but I think people understand the severity of the situation.
Okay, Alexa, why a community kitchen? Because a lot of people have the impression that, hey, lucky for those people in the provinces, they can climb up a coconut tree or look for the nearest banana tree, or there's ample food in the ground. Why a community kitchen?
Well, that's actually our first like instinct when we found out that the island was gonna be closed. We're like, well, we can just fish for food or do something, but that's actually not the case. Well, there are like a lot of farmers, and there is an abundance here of coconuts, but one can only live off of that for, you know, so long. That's why I wanted to provide like a full meal once a day to people, and then they can, you know, eat coconuts the rest of the day, or fish for their dinner. But at least for lunch, they have something hot, they have something nutritious, and hopefully they find it delicious as well.
Okay, what? How about your neighbors? How about the business community or the surfing community? How have they been responding to this activity of yours? Are there other groups doing their own kind of way of helping?
Yeah, there are a lot of people that are active in the community here. So um, there's another group that's doing another community kitchen in a different part of town. There's also another group that's doing the relief goods. So they are gathering up donations and giving it to houses in need. Um, Siargao community is very tight knit, so we all try to help each other the best way we can, and hopefully we'll all get through this together.
Okay, well, our hats off to you. And all I can say, Dan and Alexa, hang loose, keep the tan, and God bless all of you. Okay, hang loose and keep the tan. That's Alexa Quadra and Dan Bradbury out in Siargao. Good to know that they're not just surfers, they're helping out. Have a great day, guys. And that's it for us today here on Agenda. We thank all our guests. We thank Secretary Mon Lopez, General Guillermo Eleazar, Joey Concepcion, Dan, and Alexa. I hope I didn't miss anybody. We just thank you for joining us today, and I'd just like to enjoin all our viewers. Please take time out today to say a prayer for your family, for the frontliners, for our national leaders. As I already mentioned earlier, it seems that even the politicians are not spared, and particularly our government officials who are also frontliners. And let's still say a prayer of gratitude for all the blessings that God has given us individually and as a family and as a community as we face this challenge that we hope will change things for the better, make us stronger, and let us all together come in prayer and heal as one. I'm Cito Beltran, and that's today's agenda.